Now comes the living application part. Because now you have to take those self-corrective statements into living application. Just writing them out is not some magic voodoo formula that's going to magically change you. Yes, it's going to help discharge the energy that you've built up in relation to the point through self-realizing and through going, oh, I understand what I was doing. You see how there's an energy release. But now what happens is, next time Mom walks into my room and goes, please clean your room, if I find myself reacting or moving and an old energy pattern comes up and starts boiling up, I now have to apply the self-corrective statements that I've written out. So here I've done my map. Now I can look inside of myself and I see, oh, okay, here we go. This is what I wrote out. Instead of going, Mom, I said I would do it later. You see, now, instead of doing that, which would take me down the road of my possession further and further and further, and the other person will become angry and possessed, and the two possessions will fuel each other, instead I reset myself back to, okay, what did I write? I stop, I breathe, okay, I assess. I've already decided that I actually have looked at what the being is asking of me. What is it that I want to live? What do I accept? This is what I'm going to do. Now I express to Mother, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or I will do that at that time. And no matter what the other person is, she might say, I want it clean today. So she goes into anger or something like that. You are not, because of your preparatory work inside of yourself of how to deal with your reactions, you're going to start finding it easier and easier to not just go, but I, and losing it after 10 minutes. But to immediately, you could say from a quantum alignment perspective, go, okay, so she said that. How am I going to deal with that? What am I going to accept? And to take into consideration that this person is coming from a specific starting point, but for me not to go, oh, but she's using anger, so I'm allowed to use anger. Because we have to assess and to decide, am I going to live a life of justifying possessions because other people are doing what they're doing? Who do I want to be in all of this? How am I going to work with things? How am I going to change the world if I'm not willing to change myself when it comes to tough situations and situations that I perceive is too much? Because then I go, So here we want to really, as Mike explained in the interview, we want to, even if a possession point does occur, to track back in time. Once the thing happens, you might have your whatever. Mom leaves the room. Now you can reflect and you can go, okay, back to the drawing board. Let me get my writings and let me now go and write out what happened there. What happened different? What reaction did I go into? Oh, okay, I see. I allowed myself to make one self-corrective statement alignment where I stop, I breathe, and I went, okay, Mom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it after I've done my computer work. But because she said X, okay, so that's a new variable. So what this mean is I had an expectation that when my words are, Mom, I will do it in an hour, and she didn't play along, I lost it. I went, well, I gave this thing a chance, so now I'm going to lose it again. So what this basically means is that one has to diligently, day by day, in dedication and focus to what one is doing, stick to one's principles and stick to the self-corrective statements that you've been writing. And even if one falls, you do your writing assessment of, oh, so I see I fell there because I had the expectation, or the energy was building up too much and I couldn't deal with it and I lashed out. For each thing that one reassesses, there's a solution. Because now you go, oh, next time I will work with the point of no matter what builds up in me, even if that's the one thing I do. Mom comes in the room and she can say anything, but what I'm going to practice is the energy can build up. I keep breathing and saying to myself as she speaks, let the energy go, drop it into the physical, down. But let's say there is a situation where it's building. This is all I focus on, is to let it go, because I know that this is playing out because there are pre-programmed reactive systems in both of us. So why play the game of saying, okay, for 3 tries, I'm going to stop? This is just one example of what could happen. Rather say, okay, I'm going to practice this one point today. Next day you might find the next point to practice, that maybe the problem is, oh, I actually realized I didn't know how to speak to her, I don't know how to communicate to people. Then you write that out. And this is where we have our writing platforms, so that if you've done, let's say for example, DIP Light, where we give specific writing structures to understand experiences and to write them through, but now you have specific life experiences you want to bring in after you finish the course, and you go, I'm not sure how to take these things, these tools that I've been taught, and apply them to a situation. That's where we have our forums for. We have the Demonology Forum, we have the Destiny Forum. Both are used for the exact same thing. The Destiny Forum is there for, you register with your real name, you're being accountable, here I am, I'm walking these tools. The Demonology Forum is more for, there we work with more serious possession, mind possession cases, but also for people that want to write out more difficult experiences that they're going through, that they would actually like to keep confidential. So you can register with any fake name that you want to, and you don't mention people. You can just, for the problem that you're facing, you could refer to the person that you're dealing with as person X, so that we don't want to create problems by adding personal information about others or yourself that could compromise you or another person. So it's a very private, quiet forum where I work one-on-one with people, or situations where you feel that you just really want to work with one person, and things that you perceive were paranormal, you now want to get to an understanding of how am I creating paranormal events inside of myself. And this is where the Demonology Forum is what we work with. So that's just some tips and pointers on, come to the forum, even if you haven't done DIP Light, but I should recommend do, because instead of us on the forum having to reteach you, each person, the basic tools, walk our structured environment where we've already placed everything. Then you can bring your things to the forum and you write it out, and then you ask, okay, everybody come, help me look at the different dimensions. What am I missing? I'm going to do the basic writings on this as I understand it from the course. But now there's dimensions to it, that's things that are still moving in me, and I'm still reacting, and I'm still going into personalities. I'm not really understanding what's going on, and all of us will, come and assist you with that. So that's it for now. Thank you very much.